Hey guys, Chris Knight here, Business Development Manager with Red Door Property Management, bringing you the April 2024 market report for the Indianapolis and surrounding suburbs. I'm joined here, everyone knows Mike Taylor, broker owner. Mike, how are you?
Good, Chris. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Well, I know we kind of skimmed over some of these market reports before we're diving into the official recording, and let's not hide the fact that there is some scary information regarding average days on market. We're not going to hide from it. We are going to report it as the information flows. But it is what it is. So stay tuned. Pay attention to the market reports. Beat your average days on market. Reach out to us if you have any questions or concerns about your particular property that might be having an extended average days on market. Happy to help, even if you're a client of ours or not. Always happy to share our wisdom. But without further ado, Mike, you wanna jump into this?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's start with Indianapolis. Again, this is just Indianapolis. So we break these out into a bunch of sub areas. This is just Indianapolis itself. Okay. So honestly, we have a lot of good news to report in Indianapolis and in a lot of the other sub markets in terms of average rental price and number of active homes or inventory on the market. So we're seeing, as you can see, this blue line here, this dark blue line is 2023 heading in the right direction. We had a huge correction towards the end of the year. So seasonality, I think, combined with a correction from a little bit of the craziness that we saw last year. But it looks like we're maybe getting back to a state of normal in terms of active homes. This would be a pretty normal curve where we're going to see it peak in the summer and then probably take a little bit of a dip come the winter again. So this is good news in terms of average rents. So right now it's at $13.90. That's up 2.5% from last year and up 3% from last month. So everything heading in the right direction. Now you did mention it right off the bat, Chris. Average days on the market, that is a scary number, 72. It's been a wild ride. I will say, I know that this is a little bit of a nationwide trend. Show Mojo is one vendor who does lockbox showings, and they recently put out a report for Q2 of 2024, basically saying that same thing, that they're seeing average days on the market higher than the previous 2 years across the nation. So we'll put a note, or we'll put a link to that report, but it's pretty telling that this is not an Indy specific issue. And actually, I think it's going to get better, because as we look at the active homes, we're at 1873. I'm going to fast forward here just for a quick second on this next report, but this is a historical active homes over time. You can see that as we're getting into the busy season, inventory is actually going down. And so we should see, days on the market follow that. As inventory goes down, active days on the market should go down, because days on the market's a lagging indicator. So it's my prediction that, June, July, and August, we're going to see a big improvement in most of the markets for days on the market. So, but it's still a scary number. I will say, I think that's even more of a reason to be attentive to the market, to these market reports, so that you can react quicker. Be the first one to take that price reduction of whatever it is, $25, $50, allow pets, do something to get your home leased up quicker than everyone else, so that, you're not racing to the bottom with them. Get it leased up now. And then, next year you can reevaluate the price and potentially do an increase or whatever needs to be done. So,
No, absolutely.
sorry,
So I'm going to jump in. I've got to speak to that at least a little bit. Exactly. You've got to be attentive to the market reports. You've got to have, if you're not, you certainly have to have a property manager that is on top of these market reports, or you are going to be seeing the average days on market reaching 72, if not even worse. Now, one thing I will say, and a little bit of refreshing news as more of these reports come out about nationwide trends, is that Red Door is currently beating what we are seeing as the Indianapolis market average days on market. So that's great news. Why do we think that is? Well, it's a combination of things. It's being not only knowledgeable about the overall market, but it's also informing our owners every single week what activity levels are on the property itself, and then knowing what advice we can give them in order to reduce the average days on market, reduce the vacancy timeframes, whether it be, and I think you alluded to just before we started recording here, that allowing pets into a property is up roughly 12%, I think you mentioned, which of course, I mean, if we have a property that doesn't currently allow pets, that is one of the tools at our disposal. If we're 3 weeks in and market activity on the property is not seeing what we think is necessary in order to produce applications on the property, then that will absolutely be one of the suggestions that we have. Now, it's important not to mention that suggestion 2 months later or 3 months later. You've got to be attentive to what can make the changes in your vacancy rate for your property, and then have somebody suggest those things along the way. Sometimes they're not always comfortable to talk about along the way, but you have to have someone who's got the guts in order to have those conversations to do what's in your best interests.
Chris, that's an amazing point. You need to have someone, or if you're self-managing it, be honest with yourself, or have a property manager who's willing to have those frank conversations. Look at this on a consistent basis. We look at it on a weekly basis, and we want to see a certain amount of showings. If we don't see them, we're going to tell you. Like, if it's not happening, then we need to tell you, hey, we're not getting the activity that we need to produce an application. If you have a property manager who's just telling you everything is great, and then now you average days on the market at 72, not reacting to the market, they're only doing you a disservice. So yes, either be honest with yourself about the activity, react quickly, because if you're just sitting there, not reacting, not knowing, then you are going to be this 72 days on the market. And I think that's probably why we beat this average, Chris, is that we do have those uncomfortable conversations, and we tell our owners, hey, sorry, we had 0 showings this week. And so we need to try to do something to increase that activity. It's not always an awesome conversation, but it's what they pay us to do, is to monitor it, have those conversations, make suggestions to ultimately not have 72 days on the market.
That's it.
Cool. Well, I'll go over sales price real quick. 245. Again, I say this every time, but just an amazingly affordable price point. And look at that. It's up 5% from last year, up 1% from last month. And I mean, there's 1,000 of those homes that sold last month. So there's lots of inventory in that very affordable price point, which is, always a thing is affordable housing. I've really alluded to this, so I'm going to skip over this pretty quick, but active homes on the market over time in Indy trending down, which is great news going into the busy season. Days on the market still a little bit wobbly. My prediction is it's going to go down in June, July, and August.
It may be wobbly, but it is at least, a more stable line than we saw last year.
Yes, for sure.